minimum requirements are that you need to have a name, obviously, and its status like this is any place national park, so that we know what it is. Some way to describe coordinates or location. If you can give accurate coordinates, that would be great. If you have only general location, like it is located near the city of something, that should work as well. And we really encourage you to add a link to uploading new pictures of the area. Why do we need this? Because Wikimedia Commons attracts a lot of newbies. Every year, about 80% of participants of Wiki Loves Earth are newbies who never uploaded pictures to Commons before. And newbies are not very good at giving accurate description on Wikimedia Commons, like adding coordinates, adding categories, adding detailed description of the site. That's not something very easy for a person who are doing their first upload. And if you don't have this, chances are high that your newbies will upload poorly documented or poorly categorized pictures, like beautiful nature of Denmark 59. That's a good name of the picture, but if that's the entire description you get, you would probably not be able to use it, and you will spend a lot of more time identifying what it is. So the best approach is to make sure that in your list, next to the name of the area, you have a button allowing people to upload this. If you can, we really encourage you to do the following also. Add a unique identifier to an area. It is very useful to add some sort of unique key of each protected area. That helps you a lot to arrange categories, to search for photos, and especially it helps you a lot to identify what it is. So it's very useful to say that it's area number 178 in your country. That can be a government identifier. That can be a Wikidata item QID if your lists are all linked to Wikidata. Wikidata QIDs are unique, so that's really great for you. Or if you have no time to do it on Wikidata, and you have no government identifiers, it can be a code you're given as local Wiki Loves Earth organizers. And of course, and the other things make it more structured and more friendly, which is a picture of an area. It is very useful to identify what it is. Sometimes it's not very obvious from the name what it is, and if you have a representative picture already uploaded on Commons, it will help participants understand and identify it. A Wikimedia Commons category, and a link to Wikipedia article and or Wikidata item, if you can. And you can go forward with adding additional fields, types, maps, other information like creation date, area, and so on. Then a few good tips. The first is try to keep them easy to navigate. They should not be extremely long. Your goal is not to fit everything in one page. Split them by regions or by types so that people can find their way quite easily. Some people try to print these lists on a physical paper. Some people try to upload them as PDFs to their phones. So please think of these people who use lists in such ways. Some people just have this page open on their phones when they're traveling, and it needs to be more or less readable in all these cases, not too complicated, and at the same time having all relevant information so that a person just looking at this page at their phone as a PDF can understand what it is. So try to avoid very complex structure like hidden panels and so on. We really advise you to have these lists ready before the start of the contest, so that when you start, people already know what they can picture. A lot of participants see the banner on the first day and look through their collection of photos. They probably have traveled over the past years, and they have a lot of photos on their drives that they are not using. And they might say, okay, so what I want to, I'm seeing the banner of Wiki Loves Earth. That's really great. I want to share my photos. What can I share? And if your lists are incomplete at that time, that would be a bit frustrating experience for those people. They might not come back with new photos. So probably if you need to choose between adding all monuments before the beginning of the contest, but in not very good format, or doing half of them but in a very beautiful format, you should probably start with adding as many monuments as you can and improve the formatting during the contest. Of course, you need to use unique identifiers. Unfortunately, some countries have not unique identifiers, like every region has a park number 1, or every region has a natural monument number 1. And in this case, you can probably not use these government identifiers because it will not help you. If you have 10 monuments in the country with identifier 1, this identifier will not be useful. So you can use Wikidata IDs which are unique again. It's very easy to create items on Wikidata, and I think there are many people who can help you, including us. And again, speaking about uploading directly from the monument list I already mentioned. So I will show you some examples on what good lists look like. And I would start with Spain. So Spain made a really good job by synthesizing natural monuments from different government databases. And they made a really cool map on Wikimedia Commons I will show you. So here is they are publishing this list on their chapter website of Wikimedia España, which is a good place because you can publish them on Wikipedia, you can publish them on your chapter or group website if you can. There is no difference basically. Here we go. You have a list of regions of Spain. You can see them on this map to navigate. And you have a list in Spanish, and you also have them in minority languages. And you have a map of all the sites. So what it looks like, let's choose Andalusia. And on the Andalusia site, you have a very nice table, which is a good structure. So you see the name. Here is, for example, it's Sierra Alhamidia. And you have a link to the Wikimedia article with all the details, and which they already made a great job of writing articles about all these sites. You have a link to Wikidata, so their lists are also linked to Wikidata, and you see the related item. Then you have a code, which is their no code. They probably created them by themselves. Which they say, oh no, it's a code from the Natura 2000. So they have a database called Natura 2000, which is a European database. And by this code, you can get government data on this natural sites, which is really detailed. And they are really lucky to have this database. So you see all the details you might need on this. The English. So they also have access. They also have another database. I think one is enough. So they have the location. They are giving it up to the province. They have coordinates, which allows you to point to the map. Well, a typical Wikimedia landing page with a map. They have an area, which is quite useful for having a guess how big this area is. They have a commons category, so these are also the photos. And you can see on this commons category there is a small template with a link back to the list. So you have a link working both ways on this category. You have a small template saying that it's a special area of conservation in Spain, and link to the same databases to check. So that makes sure that your link works both ways. You have an image, and a very important thing, you have a direct button to upload. So when you have a direct button to upload, you can click on it. Well, I'm not logged in to show you how it works. This is in private mode. But you can see from the link that what you're given to the Commons Upload wizard is the name of the campaign. It gives you the identifier, the category on Commons, so it's already sending the picture to the right category. It gives you a description. So you are already identifying this picture with the identifier, with the name of the site, and sending it to the right Commons category. So I would probably log in. I will log in as my bot. But my bot doesn't have any gadgets, so. I forgot the password of my bot. I think, or well, I will upload. I will use my. So, and what is important is that you have all of this sorting in place, so you can, for instance, sort by the name of the province, and you will see here is a block of Almeria province, here is a block of Cadiz province, and so on. You can sort by the name, identifier, and so on. So that's quite useful. You can sort by area. For example, you might want only the small ones, and you see, for example, the one which doesn't have photos, and give you travel ideas. So a nice thing they have is that you can visualize all of the coordinates. So it's very simple tool on OSM for Wiki, which basically allows you to visualize all the coordinates from a Wikipedia page. So here you have a map of the region, and you can click that it's, and here you can click on each site, and it highlights you the name. So that gives you an idea of what is around, what is near you, and what's close to you. So that's very simple map to do. I will show you more complex one. But that's the thing you can do without any very advanced skills. And that's probably one of the best examples of lists because it has all the necessary information. But on the other side, it takes time to insert all these coordinates if you don't have them in the government database. What you can do is you can go to, I'm showing you the example from Nepal. So Nepal has not that advanced government database. Their government database is more poor than the Spanish one, but they still manage to do quite useful lists. So you can see, for example, they are sorting by province and then by district, which also helps navigation. I don't think they had government IDs, so they created it themselves. For example, for Saptari district, they are saying SAP01, which is a helpful identifier. They probably have, they only have names and locations. They don't have coordinates, but they manage to describe sites with some addresses or descriptions from their government database. Best approximation you can make if you don't have any official coordinates and you have no time to geolocalize all the monuments. But you can obtain locations. It is probably 2 settlements in Nepal, and this region is between the 2 settlements or 2 mountains. Sorry, I don't know Nepal, the geography of Nepal. Maybe someone can tell. And so for all sites, they have some, for most sites, sorry, they have some descriptions of where they are. They don't have a lot of coordinates. Well, they have for some, but not for all. And they have sources to different, you see, they have sources to different government websites, to some newspapers saying that it's a protected site, some local websites. And that's an example of what you can do with like not very good government database and not very good resources. So you can get lists with low information, but still relatively helpful for people to identify them. So with the local knowledge, you would probably identify where Jaleshwar is, and you probably will be able to find Jaleshwar Pond if you're already in Jaleshwar. And you have a link proving that it is indeed protected. And you also have the same button to upload a picture, and you see that it will also give you the identifier, and it will give you the description. So that's an example of another simple list. If you go to more advanced lists, you can see the example of Germany. So Germany has made a really good thing, which is list by region. So you already start with Wiki Loves Earth in Deutschland. So you go to the map of Germany, you select your region, which already is a bit more advanced because you see you can select automatically the region based on their map. You see lists of different types. Like they have sorted in two ways. So the first way is by type. So that's nature reserves, or you can see by this protected bird. And they have detailed information. That's their government number. They have a description of the name and location. So that's a site located between, so that's the name of the site, which is located between three different districts. That's the administrative region in which it is, the area, the heights in measures, some another government. Oh, that's the number of the topographic map, but they don't have coordinates here. They rely on identifying them by location in different cities. And they have the list working the other way, which I think is one of the coolest you can see, which is a map of the region where you can also click on the name. For example, you click on Karlsruhe, and you see the list of all the websites in the region of Karlsruhe. So you again have an upload button. You have the name of the site with a link to the article. You have a link to the Commons category with all the sites of this article, of this place. You have an identifier, which is, they have two identifiers. They have one from their local government and one from Protected Planet. So just to show Protected Planet is, if you don't have any government database, you can try using Protected Planet. It is an international managed by the Secretariat of United Nations. And just to give you an example, it contains protected sites around the entire world. You see, they are not very equally distributed between all countries, and you see that some countries, like Germany, are much better documented than others. But for example, you can zoom at Sri Lanka, let's say, which is also very well documented on Protected Planet, and you can click, for instance, on Area reservation, and you will get the page of this site on the official Protected Planet database. They have an identifier you can use. The data is provided by Forest Department of Sri Lanka, and there is some information you can use on your websites. Unfortunately, it's all rights reserved. They did not provide it under a free license, but you can very perfectly link to this website and get names of the areas because they are not copyrighted. So you can use it for, if you don't have any government database, that's a place where you can start. And to finish with probably the best example we can see, I'm going to the Swedish one. So what Sweden has done is that they created a huge map of Wiki Loves Earth sites in Sweden. Just hold on. Well, it's asked me my location. I'm obviously not in Sweden, so that would not help. And let's go to Stockholm. For those of you who were at Wikimania last year, if any of you that see, so our Wikimania was the Stockholm University, and you can see what is nearby. So there is, for example, this nature reserve in Ulriksdal. They are using Wikidata identifiers. So instead of Wikipedia articles, they are pointing you to Wikidata, where it says that it's a nature reserve in Stockholm, Sweden. You have a picture, you have an inception date. You even have a map on Commons. So that's a new type of Commons item, which is called data. That's not something you would probably be able to do in a few days because that's quite complex. But they have a very good metadata from their national agency, which helps them to get shapes of all natural sites. They are very advanced from this point of view. They also have some identifiers, geonames, their government register, the protected planet database, and a link to Wikipedia articles and the Commons category. And you also have a link to upload this picture. Once again, it sends you to upload wizard with a special identifier.